Today on Photographers Drinking Coffee, Talking Business, we're chatting about how to sell canvas wall art with Francine B. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Photographers Drinking Coffee, Talking Business, where we talk about photography and sales and how to do it better. I'm Trevor Sherwin, and I'm a boudoir photographer based out of Toronto, and I run Provocateur Images. The idea behind this series was to take a topic that most photographers are not all that comfortable with, sales, and give you some really good tools to get better at it and have a behind the scenes look at how people who are crushing it as photographers are doing it, and you can take some of those tips home and sell more. So the ultimate goal is to sell more finished products versus just digital images, and that's what this video series is all about. Now I want to remind you that if you like this video, you need to mash that like button. You also need to subscribe to this channel and let us know what you think of the content in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. So I need to remind you that before I get to our special guest, this video series is brought to you by GTA Imaging. They're the lab that I get everything done at, whether it be albums or wall art or just marketing materials. They pretty much do it all. And not only do they do everything, but they do customer service at an epic level. So if you're kind of curious about pricing or just starting to talk with them, because they don't sell to the consumer, you'll need to set up an account, and the link is down below in the description for you to do that. But I am super excited because today we're talking about selling canvases with Francine B of Francine B Photography, and she's an award-winning fine art photographer, and her images are stunning. You have to go check her work out on Instagram at Francine B Photography. The link will be down below. Francine primarily photographs like children, families, and glamour, but her main focus is newborns and maternity. So every session she does, she creates a stylized, personalized experience for each of her customers, and the goal is, of course, to sell finished product like wall art. So without further ado, welcome, Francine.
Hi.
Hey. I guess when I start off any of these little interviews, I love to ask people, what is it you say you do? Like, what is it you say to people to describe your business when you first meet them?
So I always say that I'm a fine art portrait photographer, and then I have people who are looking at me and scratching their heads, and then I say I photograph babies, basically.
Yeah.
that's what it ends up with. I shoot babies.
Yeah, in a good way, not
in a
bad
good
way.
Yeah.
Right. You know. But that's always fun. Like, everybody introduces themselves a little bit differently, and we always talk about like all these fancy terms, and they're just so awesome to us, and then people just scratch their head and we're like, oh,
they're just like, what? What is that?
Yeah. Now, do you, I really want to kind of get a sense of your business, because I think it's good to put everybody's business in perspective and talk about how they operate. Mm-hmm. So where is your studio?
So I'm located in the east part of Brampton, right on the border of Vaughan and Brampton, like Highway 50.
Good spot.
Yeah. So I get both. I've done some very intense marketing in the Brampton area. So I pretty much have access to everyone who's having a baby in Brampton somehow will come across my work at some point in their pregnancy.
Cool.
So I
And
have access to a lot of.
just for all of you people out there in the interweb land, Brampton is kind of northwest of Toronto. So
Yeah,
just kind of
exactly,
put it in
northwest of
perspective.
Toronto.
It's kind of like an adjacent, I guess, the city, right?
Oh yeah, we're a city. We are a big city.
Yeah, I know. I'd like, there really is no gap between Toronto and Brampton, I don't think anymore. It's just one big sprawl. So
No, exactly. We're right off the 427, so like literally right off the highway.
yeah, cool. And do you shoot in a studio, or is your studio your home?
So my studio is an entire floor of my house.
Gee,
It's big.
yeah,
And
no kidding.
it's like a separate entrance and stuff. Yes, it is a home studio, but I feel like there's a big stigma attached to that now. So it's completely private.
Yeah, no, I don't really think there's a problem shooting in your house. I mean, I know I couldn't do it for what I do because, I mean, if you saw inside my space, it's just couches and props and
Right.
junk everywhere. Luckily, your subjects are this big, most of
Right.
them, right? So it makes it a lot more practical. But
There's
yeah, I mean,
still couches and props and beds and
oh no,
everything
they're just,
everywhere.
there's lots of props. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, they might be smaller. That's all. But yeah, I think shooting out of your home is like a perfect idea, and so many people do it because you don't always need the space.
Hmm.
So why not like convert some of that space in a home into money making, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
So you mentioned most of your clients come from the surrounding area. Do you have a lot of people travel to see you?
Yeah, I have clients who come as far as Hamilton, actually. I have
Oh
a
wow,
lot of
that's like an
clients
hour
coming from
away. Like
Hamilton.
that's
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
I mean,
and
that's obviously means you're doing a really good job.
yeah, thank you.
Now, because I really want to get everybody familiar with you, the person and the photographer, I love asking this very difficult question, which is, what is a photography myth that you want to clear up? Something you know to be true or false, but other people think otherwise.
Okay, yeah. So my biggest one would be that clients want digitals. Biggest 100% clients want, sorry, I'll soften that up. Clients want only digitals because that's not true. That is not true at all. And if a lot of photographers who do digital only or all inclusive, uh, and they just give their souls basically for free, which is sad. But a lot of clients, if they saw a real sample of what a real print or real canvas or looks like, they're gonna say, okay, I understand now. I understand that you are more than just a digital. Give me my digitals and let me go print out Walmart. Like, no, that's not what you really want. You may think that you want that, but that's not what you want at all. So that's my
That,
big pet peeve, is that
oh my
photographers
God,
are
like,
so afraid to offer products.
yeah, no, can we do like a virtual high five here?
Yeah,
Because
right?
like
There you
just
go.
Francine, I can't tell you how happy it is for me to hear other photographers say that. I mean, not just because this video series is brought to you by GTA Imaging, which does all the finished products that we're talking about, but because if you want to be viable as a photographer, I think you have to sell finished products, right?
Yeah, you have to.
And
You absolutely have to.
it's just, and I mean, let's go into talking about canvases today, because that's the focus of today's talk. I mean, I know you sell a lot more than just that, but we're just kind of honing it in on that. What is it you like most about selling canvases to your customers?
So yeah, like you said, I offer a lot of products, but with canvases specifically, the most sellable, I guess, or more attractive quality about the canvases is that they're so durable. They are so durable. They're easy to maintain. They won't warp. They won't change in color. They're sharp. They're beautiful, and they just last. And I tell my clients, like, this is a heirloom piece. This is something that you're going to pass down for generations, and it will not change. And I'll even say, like, this little baby, because I often have like the little babies with me, I'll say, like, this little baby will be showing this print to like her grandkids, and that's a real thing. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for portrait style heirlooms of your children, then I would go with canvas.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I remember, after my grandmother passed away, we were kind of going through all of the family photos that she had stored. And of course, one of the most amazing ones, but like those baby pictures,
Yeah.
like she wasn't an infant at the time, but
Yeah.
like those toddlery kind of
Yeah.
shots, and everybody's like, wow, that's so cool. I'd love to get that picture that's literally like 1 inch,
Right?
2 inch blown up to the wall size, which is
Yeah.
virtually impossible. But like selling somebody something like this that's got that permanence, I think is a really kind of
Yes.
cool idea, right?
Yeah.
And,
And I think
and
my
then,
clients really buy into, sorry, I didn't mean to
oh
interrupt you.
no, go ahead.
I think my clients really buy into the fact that they are it's like a legacy almost. Like they're building their legacy with products like this that are going to be passed down for generations. Like that also is like an attractive point for my clients at least.
Yeah, and I mean they're just so proud to put it on the wall too.
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
the best.
Yeah.
I mean, let's elaborate on one little piece before I get into something else. Is I guess, why is selling wall art such a big part of your business versus, say, selling, I don't know, like just an album or something like that? What is it about wall art, aside from the heirloom side of things, that people just go wow to?
Because one of the things with wall art that you definitely do not get with digitals, and you even with an album, is that if you have a beautifully displayed image on your wall, you will see it every day. You will see it absolutely every day. Your client, not your clients, but your guests will come in your home and they'll see it. Your family will see it. Your children will see it. And that in itself is a big deal. Like, I know I've read this study where children who have like pictures displayed on their walls of themselves, like it increases their self-confidence. They're like, well, I'm so important that my mom put a picture of me on the wall. And all of those reasons are why I do a lot of wall art, because that's the way you're going to enjoy it the most. That's the way my clients will enjoy it the most, is when it's beautifully displayed.
Yeah, for sure. Then I feel I must be really important to my mom.
Right?
There's a zillion pictures of me up in the hallway and all over the house.
Well, see, there you go.
Yeah. No, I'm just feeling so good right now. This is awesome.
See?
But no, I think that's, like, all joking aside, I mean, I think that's so true. I mean, there's nothing better than having like that wall just filled with photos, whether they be like, just family snapshots and then mixed in with a few really big, beautiful pieces.
Yeah.
It's such a focal point and conversation point for so many different reasons.
Yeah. And it's really easy to actually be able to, I mean, I don't do hard sales at all. I just have conversations with my clients. But for maternity, selling that mother, like a fine art image of a mother with her tummy, it sells every single time as wall art now. And I say, you know what? That is so precious. Your baby is gonna have that picture for the rest of his or her life, and they will know that is them in your tummy. Like it's a big deal. It is a big.
Yeah, it's like probably the most connected time a mom will be with the kid, right?
Exactly, and it's so precious.
So how do you qualify that your customer would want a canvas in the first place? Do you have customers coming in expecting to buy this, or is this a...
Yeah, so what I was saying was that I prep them from the inquiry process. So when they call me or email me and say, we want to have our baby pictures done, and I will say, I am a fine art portrait photographer. My focus is wall art and beautiful displays. Digitals are always secondary. My clients will at least purchase one professional printed image and then decide if they want to add on their digitals after. So they know that they are coming in for that. Like I don't really have a lot of digital only clients, maybe 1 in 40 who are really like, oh, we only want the digitals. And I'm like, no, you don't.
I love that. No, you don't.
Yeah.
God, that's so important. I mean, you had said this earlier, and I think I want to bring it up again because now we're talking about the sales process. People, I think, just assume that a digital image is what they want.
Right.
Like, oh, I'll go get it printed myself, or I'll go. They don't ever, right?
No, they don't. So I'll ask them. I'm like, okay, so a lot of wedding photographers, they do offer some prints. A lot of them do, but a lot of them also have like a giant CD of like literally $800 $900 images that they just give to their clients. And sometimes I ask them, like, do you have a lot of wedding images in your house? Stuff like that, like just like that, exactly what I just did. But like I don't. I have in my studio, I have images that I've printed off of consumer labs, like, Shutterfly or Walmart or, even Costco. And I have my prints side by side, exact same images. I have, tons of samples. I pretty much have a sample for every product that I offer. So like the product sells itself. I don't need to do anything. The product sells itself, and each client knowingly comes into the studio knowing that they are going to get some type of prints. And when they come in, they just kind of say, okay, I really love this. I really love the canvases, or I really love the frame canvases. And they kind of, their heart is already set with it. That's even before we get into their sales session, because when they come into their studio, I let them look. I don't let the parents really come in with me with the babies anymore. It's irritating for me. So they kind of just,
I can imagine.
So they kind of wander around the studio, they watch some Netflix, they, whatever, but I have so much product in my studio now that they just, browse through things. And then that's all part of the process. It's not like they come in for their sales sessions and they see their price, like a price guide, and they're like, oh my God, like, no. You've been prepped from like way beforehand.
Yeah, I think this is so important. If you're going to sell any kind of finished product, and this goes outside of just canvases. This goes to everything. I mean, you bring it up in your sales process early, which I think is the key. I see a lot of photographers that tend to surprise people with pricing, where they're like, okay, my session fee is this. And then the person shows up, does the shoot, and then they're like, hey, but, for whatever amount of money, they're this extra thing, and they keep trying to add on and add on and add on. And you sound like you do this differently, where you're saying, this is what I do, this is what I sell. And you kind of not only set an expectation, but you also kind of qualify them in a way. Like, say this, and you find, I guess you find out what they're after before the session might even happen. Am I way off on that, or am I?
No. You're absolutely right, because I say that now. I'm fairly established. I won't say very established, but I say that I'm fairly established, where I'm not desperate for clients as I was in the very beginning. And I was desperate in the very beginning. I was shooting for free. I was giving away things. I was getting bullied when I was in sales. And now it's like, no. Like it's different. I have a backbone now. And I will say, like, I very straight up, very upfront. And in the inquiry process, when a client is deciding to book, I'm reiterate that image purchase is separate. Image purchase is separate, maybe 4 or 5 times. So they are fully understanding that image purchase is separate, because I've had so many clients who are like, oh, well, we thought we were going to get all our digitals for free. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I would have never said that. And it's just, I have a backbone now. In the beginning, when I first started this, I was worried about getting clients. I was worried about sales. And I'm normally a little bit more of a passive person. So I was getting bullied a lot. And I was like, no, not anymore.
Yeah. Is it also fair to say that, like, saying no to a customer the first time is really hard?
Yeah.
Any time after that is way easier.
Yes, 100%. And I have said that too, where I'm like, you know what? I honestly, based on what you're saying that you want, I don't know if I'm the best fit for you.
Yeah.
And I said that. And
And
that's
then
the
they
worst
just
thing you
want you
could
more.
possibly say to an inquiry, because they're like, oh my God, she doesn't want to work with me. And then they absolutely have to work with you.
I
Like,
love
really,
that.
they have to. They have to. Because
Yeah,
I've said,
it is.
like, there's lots of other photographers who are maybe a little bit suited for your needs, a little bit more. And then they just stick with me. They end up sticking with me the entire way.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know if you're confident enough to
Yeah.
push back a little bit or even
Yeah.
recommend another photographer,
Yeah.
like they're like, oh, well, this person must be serious.
Right.
And that is so like, I love to hear that. And I mean, that's part of the message in these video series is just to communicate those type of skills with new photographers because,
Yeah.
I guess I kind of came up with this video series concept with the owner of GTA Imaging because we're both so much about helping the industry be stronger together, right?
Exactly.
And I think if everybody just realized that, like, wow, photography is an art, photography is a legit skill, and you should be charging for it, I think we're
Yeah.
all better off.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I really believe that.
So let's pivot a little bit. And you had mentioned something just a little earlier that I really want to key in on because I think this is one of the most important things because this goes back to my retail camera selling days. And that is, if you have it on display, you're probably going to be able to sell it. Because if you're just describing it,
No.
you probably won't be able to sell this product. Now, you had mentioned that you have samples for your canvas prints. I mean, I see a few up above you as well.
Yeah.
Now, do you have first of all, how many samples do you have? Do you have one for pretty much every size, or is it? Yeah.
No, not every size, but every product. I will admit that my product on a whole, like my whole product line is it's busy. There's a lot of that I offer because I know each client wants a certain thing, but everything is, I have a sample of everything. And one of the concepts that I first learned when I was getting into this business is that you sell what you show. You sell what you show. There is no other way to say it. So like this, I don't know if you see it, but this image here, that's my 4 kids, the wild animals. And but this is a 30 by 40 canvas. It is the largest size that I offer. And I will say, like, and clients come in and say, well, your kids are so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, this is a perfect size for a sibling shot. And the wall on it is not that big. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a tiny wall. And I'm like, and even in such a small space, it looks so stunning. And
Yeah, and I think
that's all part of it.
Yeah, one of the things that most people underestimate, and I got away from mentioning sizes in my price guide and stuff like that. Like if somebody really wants to know the dimensions, I'll give it to them. But I basically say mini, standard, and impact now, right?
Oh, wow. That's smart.
Like I just chose 3 words.
Yeah.
And they kind of make sense. Now, mini, I think, is like 16, 20-ish, which on a wall is microscopic, right? Like, what would you say that was, 30 by 40? 30
by 40.
Yeah, so that's going to at least come close to being wow on the wall.
Yeah.
And, I think it's important that you also show the bigger one.
Yeah.
I now have a smaller size image that I can just quickly pull off the wall and I just put it next to it and go, you probably want the bigger one, don't you?
Yeah.
And
no, so, yeah, I don't have, I offer about 5 different sizes. And the smallest is 11 by 14, which to me is tiny. But that is, you will not find a smaller image than that. And that is still tiny. But you don't find a sample of an 11 by 14 in my studio anywhere. They're all 20 by 24, 30 by 4, like the 30 by 40s, like they're just, nice big displays because one of the biggest concepts, like we just said, is that you sell what you show. You absolutely sell what you show.
Yeah, there's this one famous quote that I remember from like just, like somebody's going to like totally hit me up in the comments for this, but like it was with relation to street photography. And if you want your images to look more impactful, get closer, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing holds true with wall art. If you want to make it look more impactful, make it bigger. Like you can, and I mean, your images are stunning, so don't think this is not like a shot at you, but like if you want to make even a mediocre image look amazing, print it huge.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. It's absolutely true.
It's like if you put a big picture on the wall of something in your house, people go, oh, wow, what's that? And it can be like, picture.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how people will think it's an amazing picture because you chose to print it big.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the idea of printing big is just very, very luxurious as well. And it's very high end, because it's gone are the times in like the 80s and the 90s where everyone's like 8x10s, 8x10.
Yeah.
You're gonna print an 8x10, and I'm like, I don't even sell 8x10s anymore. So
yeah, why would you do that?
Right? Exactly.
Like unless you're doing a cluster frame, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, how many sizes for canvases do you have? Because I know GTA Imaging does like 152, I think. I don't know. Like I looked at their price guide once and went, oh my God, why are there so many?
Yeah.
But how many do you have?
5.
5 sizes?
5. Yeah, it's 5 or 6. I do say if you would like to customize your space, I can give you a custom quote for a specific size. However, these are the sizes that I offer that are pretty standard for most spaces.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of the one thing that, I mean, I could recommend to another photographer who's watching this is don't list out everything your lab does. Pick the sizes.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I like, did you stick to proportions that are more or less what your camera shoots?
No,
No,
when I first started out, I'll be honest, when I first started out, I went on Google and I pretty much looked at what other photographers were selling, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And then I looked at price guides, and then I did a lot of business classes. And one of the lessons that I learned very early was that a confused mind is like you don't sell to a confused mind. So you make things straightforward, you make things easy, you make things simple, and you kind of walk your clients into the right sale. Like you just walk with them. You're not selling, you're not hard selling or anything like that. You just walk with them. And they do, if you set up your studio and your process right, they will, you sell. Yeah. It's easy. But yeah, simplified, don't offer 10, even 5 sizes is a little bit extreme. I see clients who offer 3, and similar to you. And I really like that you have those names, because if you say, yeah, I'm going to get a mini wall art, I can see that reaction.
I'm totally playing with their brains. I stole this idea from another photography group that I was in, and I was like, oh, I like that.
That is genius. That is genius.
So yeah, and I mean, nobody wants the mini. Standard.
No.
It's okay. Everybody gets that. I want the impact.
Yes.
I want the shiny one.
Yeah.
And that's, I think keeping your focus very narrow and not confusing people is probably one of the best takeaways anybody could have. If I'm going to reiterate anything you just said, which was all gold, but that one little nugget was like, oh, I do that, everybody, basically. Yeah. So along in the sales process, what is the biggest objection your customers give you when they're thinking about purchasing a canvas? And it can be anything from like the price to the size to like, what is that objection and how do you overcome it?
Okay, so I never get objections to my pricing. I will never say, I would never hear someone say that it's too expensive. And my products are expensive. Like, there's no other way to say it. They are expensive, but no client ever says that. What they'll say is, we're moving homes, so we're not sure what the walls look like. Or I can't remember what the wall looks like, and I don't have a picture in my phone. or, you know, things like that. Like they never say, it's not cost at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're not sure if this is going to fit in the space, or we're not sure if, you know, we're moving. So we're living in a condo now. So we're moving. And because because I've been doing this for quite some time, I've kind of have answers to all those questions or objections. For example, like I say, well, you know, these are pretty standard size. They're going to look good in any space. And
Love that.
the color, we're not sure of like our new house wall colors. And I'm like, well, you know, when we did our pre-consult over the phone, I got an idea of your style. Do you remember I talked to you about cool tones? I talked to you about, you know, the style of your decor of your home. I've talked to you about your dream home. So I'm pretty sure that I shot these images to match your style, not your home right now, but your personal style. So don't worry about that, because wherever you decide to put it in your new home, it's going to look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I say things like
most people, I don't think, realize that, like, you know, you might actually make the room color choice based on that image.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you love that image, you'll make it work.
Yeah.
So there really shouldn't be anything different. And I mean, you know, there's so many different, you can get into like, there's so many different color palettes. Like you can go with an opposite color, a complementary color, but trust me, it's going to look good in the new house just as well as it looks good where you're living right now.
Exactly. And one of the things that I it's kind of almost to other photographers as well, is that it's important that you shoot to sell. Do not shoot. Yes, it's important to be creative, and we're creatives, and you know, and it's nice and it's great to have like that, you know, your creative juices flowing and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, your clients need to love their images. So
Yes.
talk to them beforehand about the stuff that they like, about the colors that they like, about if they want simple or do they want, you know, more extravagant, or do you like dark, do you like light? Like do a pre-consult, because it's very important to be able to sell your images after. Very important.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, every photographer has their style and you're not going to deviate from that style, but certainly choosing a color palette that matches what the client wants. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I am no baby photographer. In fact, short of pets, that's probably the least likely thing you'll ever see me photograph as a baby.
Right.
But, you know, like I know enough that some parents do not want extremely gendered colors.
Yes.
Right? So if you make the assumption that a boy has to be blue and a girl has to be pink,
Yeah, no.
they may not love that. And I think that's a fantastic takeaway that you said, like, just talk to them.
Yes.
I mean, anybody can take a picture. It's another thing for somebody to take a picture for you.
Exactly.
You know, and that's, I love to hear that the fact that you're talking to the parents and asking them questions, because that's so important.
And on that note, I'm also all about keeping my clients with me forever, hopefully. And so I really, I feel like me and my makeup artist, both of us, we really do a good job with connecting with these moms. We're both moms. So, you know, we have clients who are, you know, crying in the studio, like full on crying, like, you know, we do breastfeeding help, we do things like that, because, and then yes, we want to help them as new moms 100%, but it's all about connecting to your clients from the very beginning. From the time you pick up the phone and you call them back, you absolutely be yourself, but you need to connect with them, because you cannot be another photographer in this industry. You need to be their photographer.
That's so true.
They need to be attached to you, basically that, because there's so many.
They just want to tell everybody about you, and that's the best way to get new clients, I guess, right?
Exactly.
So let's so I mean, that was all gold too. So let me just talk about, I kind of want to, I understand your sales process in the sense that you're bringing up, in this case, canvases over and over again and finished wall art pieces, but how do you decide help them decide like which size to get? Like, do you display, like obviously you have your samples, right? But do you use any of that mock-up software where they bring in a picture of the room and you kind of just like, here's a potential what this might look like? Have you ever used any of that stuff, or is it just
No, I'm so guilty of that. I'm really, really bad at learning new software. I don't have the time between, you know, my kids and my business and my clients. So I'm really bad at that. So what I did when I was first learning, one of the teachers that I was learning from printed every size that she offers. She printed them. And so I did that. So now I have, they're just like foam core prints. I have the 30 by 40, I have the 20 by 30, I have the 20 by 24, and so on, right? And you can't see it, but I have maybe about where my clients sit. I go to the other side of the wall. Like it's maybe about 15 feet. It looks like 15, 20 feet. And I will stand on the far side of the wall and hold up the images. And I'll say, this is what a 30 by 40 looks like. This is what your 11 by 14 looks like. And I'll stand there holding them like, you know, and they can see, they're like, yeah, you know, our hallway's about this length, and you can't really even see their faces at the 11 by 14. Like you can't see it. So
okay,
like that's how I do it.
You have the coolest display option I've ever heard. that is genius. Like, let's just repeat this again, and we'll probably end up throwing up a picture of this too. But like, you literally have foam core, which are really cheap to make, right? Like they're not plaques, they're not heavy. They're just, I presume they also travel really well to trade shows if you do them as well. Yeah. But like, they're just foam cores, and you just literally hold them up at a certain distance.
Yes, that's exactly what I do.
Low tech being the best tech right there.
Yeah. With that being said, at some point I am going to learn Pro Select. I have it. I own it.
I almost don't say bother, but that's just me. That is so live in real time. That's awesome.
But it's also, again, what I said about connecting with your clients and you know, stuff like that. And you know, I make it fun for them and stuff. And it's a fun process. It's a high-end luxury process that I'm taking my time to sit with you and help you decide on your images. And I make that clear. Like, this is not about me. This is about you. Right. But it's not like, oh my God, they're not overwhelmed at all.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, one of the other questions I wanted to ask is, how do you like work in packages? Like, do people want to buy more than one image from you at times? Like, I mean, like the concept of doing a 30 by 40, but two of them is probably a pretty real possibility. Do you bundle stuff together, or try to say, well, if you get a second one, it's like a certain percentage off or something?
No, no, I don't. Sometimes I go into, like, as much as I prepare my clients, I don't know exactly their exact budget range when they do sales. Like, I qualify them, and I give them like an average of what most clients will spend and stuff like that. So they know that they're coming with that in mind. But what I do is I walk around the studio. So I take them on a walk around my studio. I explain all the products. And then I'll say, you know, which ones do you like? And then they'll start saying, you know, I really love like this. Sorry, can you see it? I really love this grouping. And then like, if they're saying groupings, then I know it's going to be a different type of sale, as like, you know, I really like these 11 by 14 mats, basically. So it just depends. Normally, if I don't sell, I could do a little bit better selling the groupings, because I say it's per quote. And if you want to do that, I will help you design it. But I could do a little bit better with that. Normally I do like maybe once they hit a certain level, I start giving some taking discounts. But it's not like, oh, 5% or 10%, because that actually adds up really fast on a big sale. And you're like, when you calculate it, you're like, oh no, did I just say that? So I'll say, if you decide to get this grouping, I can give you $100 off.
Yeah.
Or if you decide to get, the big wall gallery, I can knock off maybe 200, 250, stuff like that. It's motivation. Or I can give you, an imprint credit if you wanted to add on an album. Or and this is a big one with my clients, is that if you reach this amount in print, your digitals are free.
Ah, okay. So yeah, you kind of give them little incentive-based things to get them to that next level, and that is so important for so many of us. Now, is there anything else you want to add to help photographers sell more wall art? Is there anything that comes to mind that we haven't talked about that you kind of think is important?
I think we touched on everything, but I can maybe condense it a tiny bit, like in some type of points. Like the first one is, you have to prep your clients from the very beginning. And I didn't mention this, but I have displays up in a lot of areas, a lot of places where these pregnant ladies see them, full on canvas displays, giant ones. And they see them and they're like, oh, these are so pretty. And they pick up a card and then they call me. But from that very beginning, they're seeing canvas. They're seeing wall displays. They are not seeing, a computer screen flipping. No.
Yeah.
They're seeing wall art. So from the very beginning, you prep your clients, you talk to them about, selling, this is what you want to do, legacy. My website talks about, heirloom pieces. And all those words matter. So you prep them first. They see all the displays when they come in. So you show what you want to sell. You talk to them about pricing beforehand, so that they know that they're coming in to buy stuff. And they know that they're not coming in to buy their digitals only. So he's just going to hang out with me for a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you talk about their sizing. So you pretty much have your sales even before that they come in for their session. You pretty much have a sale. And then it's just all about what size are you going to go with? What finish are you going to go with?
Cool. So, I mean, that's like a killer summary. I mean, I think I know I've even got a few good tips about how to sell wall art a little better myself now. So I'm really loving that. Hey.
Sorry, he has candy.
So, I mean, Francine, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. Where can people find and follow you?
So I have Instagram and Facebook. It is Francine B Photography. That is my main one. If you did a search on Francine B Photography on Instagram, I have a children's Instagram, and I have a glam one. But the main one is the babies, which is Francine B Photography. My website is francinebphotography.com. It is being reconstructed right now, but it should be up in a few days. And basically that's it.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Also, big thanks to our sponsor, GTA Imaging, who makes all the canvases just like the ones we were talking about.
Yeah.
And if you want to find out their pricing, just click the link below in the show notes. And of course, if you liked this video, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe so you can follow us. A bunch of these kind of videos talking to different photographers. I'm Trevor, and you can find me at provocateur_images on Instagram and provocateurs.ca on the interwebs. But until the next one, we will see you later. So see you, Francine. Thank you so much.
Bye. Nice chatting.